Hello and good morning, all of you beautiful people on this beautiful day. We're so blessed, aren't we? There was a little miscommunication about the topic, so while there will be some mention of unity, the topic today is transformation through ritual and intention. Ritual and intention are the vehicles for transformation, and ritual moves us from one place to another, and intention plots the course. Ritual and intention are transformative catalysts or stimulants that move us toward deeper connection with Great Spirit and toward release from unwanted tendencies. Ritualized intention is illumination yet unfound that seeks change in our minds, body, and spirit. Intention is the spiritual glue of ritual intention. It's the purpose of ritual transformation. It is the aim, the objective, a ritual that leads us to change toward renewal of spirit and mind into transformation. It's the galvanizing of our beliefs. It's like pouring our lives through a spiritual sieve. Some of us use intentional religious rituals, and some of us individually create our own spiritual ritual. Religious rituals like Christians that may, through religious ritual, use things like baptism or confession or receiving communion or Easter Mass as a resurrection. Muslims using Ramadan, which is a practice of self-restraint, and Jews for Passover, liberation, celebration from the exodus from Egypt. Shamanism uses fire ceremony. It's at the heart of transformation. It's about letting go of the old, deep beliefs or stories and soul healing. Marriage itself is a vessel of transformation. It's a spiritual discipline to know God better as well as yourself and your partner, and to support both spouses to fulfill their life callings. Individually, morning coffee or tea is the re-entry into the day from sleepiness to awakeness. Morning coffee can be about conscious connection, thankfulness for the coffee, the pure, clean water ready at the turn of the tap, and all the elements to make the coffee. It's a time to honor where these coffee beans came from, what it took to grow, the soil, the sun, the rainfall. To honor those who tended the beans, who harvested the beans, who brought them to market, and how they were transported to our kitchen, where we are in continual and grateful harvesting. That is the conscious transformation through ritual and intention. Sleep, awakening, gratitude. Ritual transformation is happening as we sit here in this very moment. We attend services Sunday at 10 a.m. That's an intentional ritual to be reminded of and reinforced in our beliefs, to sustain a community of consciously aware people. We want to connect to the great unknowable, to ourselves and to each other, and become part of the interconnected web that makes magic happen. We are in continual change and hopefully renewal of spirit in our physical presence and in our hearts. New thought itself represents transformation. It has evolved from ancient wisdom to new thought. What we believe is that new thought is the understanding that the spirit is the true essence of who we are and is more powerful than the body or the physical, material self and nature. So transformation all depends on what you believe and how it's working for you. Now, I can have negative beliefs that work my last nerve, and here are some of them. People are cruel, and that's a belief system that belies kindness. I'm unworthy. That's embedded with some kind of early upset or pain. Why sweep the leaves? They'll be back again tomorrow. That's riddled with apathy, self-serving, and slothfulness. I unconsciously hold these beliefs up as the ultimate power. But thoughts like these have wreaked havoc on my life without my conscious consent. And those worn-out beliefs need an overhaul. Thankfully, Beliefs can be renovated. And that's another reason we come to New Thought. Here are some beliefs embraced by New Thought. Infinite intelligence, or God, is omnipotent and omnipresent. Why rely on my limited knowledge? The vastness of infinite intelligence triumphs over my self-reliance, and together in oneness, we co-create. Divinely attuned is a positive force for good. I have spiritual values that preempt selfishness. Mankind's collective thoughts, words, emotions, and deeds create the environment for us all. The powerful law of attraction interplays with divine mind. Therefore, good is relatively attuned to both our inner and outer expression. Gratefully, my spiritual values include the universal laws that I strive to live by. Disease is mental in origin. Science is just beginning to catch up to this. Richard McNally, PhD, a clinical psychologist at Harvard, and the author of a 2011 book called What is Mental Illness, says that certain disorders such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, and autism fit the biological model in a very clear-cut sense. Yet for other conditions such as depression or anxiety, the biological foundation is more nebulous. Often mental illnesses are likely to have multiple causes, including genetic, biological, and environmental factors. For me, it's the stressors of life. And Jerome Wakefield, a PhD, professor of social work and psychiatry at NYU, he says that by over-focusing on the biological, we are doing patients disservice. He sees a red flag in a study by Drs. Marcus and Olson that found that the percentage of patients who received psychotherapy for depression declined from 53% in 1998 to 43% in 2007, while rates of antidepressant use stayed roughly the same. In other words, those who sought psychotherapy had a greater chance of improvement over depression than those who only used antidepressants, treating the symptoms alone without seeking underlying causes. So we can see that disease is mental in origin. True human selfhood is divine. That means that I am worthy of all love, of receiving love unconditionally, of giving love unconditionally. To be truly human, I am with divinity. I am love. You are love. Right thinking has a healing effect. Phineas Parkhurst Quimby lived in the 1800s. He was an American philosopher, a mesmerist, a healer, and an inventor. His basic premise was that the trouble is in the mind, for the body is only the house for the mind to dwell in. Therefore, if your mind had been deceived by some invisible enemy into a belief, unwittingly, you have put it into the form of disease or any form of dis-ease or lack with or without your knowledge. By my theory or truth, I come in contact with your enemy and restore you to health and happiness. This I do partly mentally and partly by talking till I correct the wrong impression, therapy, and establish the truth, and truth is the cure. Truth is the cure. We live in the information age. We are inundated with data. Data are not necessarily truth, and I learned in college statistics courses that data can be and are manipulated. How do we get to the truth? Here's an excerpt from the writing of Reverend W. John Murray on truth. This was written in 1922. The door to all achievement, the key is truth, and the truth is Christ. It is the way which leads to all truth, and through truth, that life which is not physical but metaphysical, not mortal but immortal. This touchstone is that which Paul designated as the Christ in us, the hope of glory. Not to be mistaken which it so often is made, Christ is spoken of as a person. We want to affirm that Christ is not so much a person as a principle, which, when understood and cooperated with, will lead us out of our difficulties as unerringly as the principle of mathematics leads us to the solution of our problems whenever we apply it and abide intelligently by its rules. When a man realizes his truth, it is like finding one's direction by means of the compass, a discovery based upon science, not a question of private opinion. If the most profound scientist in the world told the simplest bosun that he was sailing west when the compass indicated that he was going east, the bosun would accept the verdict of the inanimate compass and reject the statement of the animate sage. This is a case of science against the scientist, or human opinion against truth. So when we operate on a private opinion rather than scientific truth, we are misguided. So ritual is like a compass, and when aimed through the lens of intention, the mind is transformed. It yields true north. Through the principle of Christ consciousness, the mind is transformed. It's healed or saved from itself, from erroneous thought. Right thinking has a healing effect. Intention can be used with tools of transformation, such as crystals, connecting to a universal system of chakras. I use crystal intention to transform my thoughts and my actions as I am attuned to the vibration of crystal source. This is not an isolated experience. It's been used for centuries because it works. During my spiritual coaching sessions, I have been witness to the healing power of crystal vibration transformation. I have seen individuals move from emotional and spiritual blockages, most of whom were the least likely candidates who had never explored or even considered crystals in any way. But they were open enough to say yes, intention for healing. So as I have sat with them, what came through divine mind was for me to ask them if they would like to hold a particular stone, a septarian nodule to be exact, one that was created 30 to 50 million years ago. So if all things have a vibration, then this geode, this septarian nodule, was the great, 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 exponentially great grandmother of transformation, of pulsation. It holds ancient wisdom. And lo and behold, while they held the stone, these who were unable to access or feel relief from grief about childhood abuses, deep sorrow about an abortion, losses of loved ones, these blockages were dissolved, the same ones that were interfering with their lives. I have witnessed vintage grief wailed, opening the floodgates to healing, transformation. It's extraordinary. Infinite intelligence is omnipotent and omnipresent. On a physical level, the ritual that I enjoy is bathing. With all the salts and the scents, candles and incense, the physical and the spiritual cleansing with an intention of conversion is reserved for the spirit to dwell and release spiritual toxins. When I care for and honor my body, my mind transforms from an automated machine to a soft summer breeze. My attitude alters. As I go through this process, mindfully pouring in the bath additives, consciously smelling the bouquets, my body just relaxes, my mind calms. I change from a beast of burden to a haven for heaven on earth. Reverend Murray said, "The power in heaven is the power of spirit. Heaven is the home of order and harmony, and it is not located on a distant planet, but here in the heart of man." Jesus said, "All power is given to me in heaven and on earth. The kingdom of heaven is within you." And that's how I feel when submerged in a scented, warm bath. My mind yields to the physical sensation, and my heart leaps for a calm joy. It's heavenly. This July, I'm leading a 4-day healing intensive in Maine. Along with other modalities, it includes sound bathing, forest bathing, waterfall bathing. I just can't wait. Now you might ask, what about crappy experiences? Can they transform me? All experiences can have powerful, transformative tools, depending on what you believe. Have we not seen people who were terribly victimized become champions going on to aid others? Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. He survived the concentration camp because he searched for meaning. Or Tarana Burke, social activist and community organizer who coined the phrase Me Too, and then the movement was popularized by Alyssa Milano. These people overcame adversity to bring about positive change in their lives and the lives of others. This is transformation embodied. And from these, resistant movement begins to transformation of social consciousness because its intention resonates. And each one of us has this capacity and this scope for living. This is not always easy, but it is one that yields brilliant rewards. And engaging ritual intention as part of divine attunement is a way to go inward, to restore, to redress, to re-emerge. And I have seen others transform apathy into courage, shattered bits of self mended into wholesomeness, silence into voice, warring fragments into oneness, economic self-satisfaction into social care, emotional pain into forgiveness, grumpiness into gratitude. Spirit is the ultimate reality, allowing ourselves to be cracked open emotionally, spiritually, physically. Sometimes by adversity we are transformed, we are changed. Change is hard because letting go of the existing legacy can be difficult. But when I link letting go with infinite intelligence, or God is omnipotent and omnipresent, true human selfhood is divine. Divinely attuned is a positive force for good. Disease is mental in origin, and right thinking has a healing effect. We affect robust, substantive, worthwhile, precious transformation. As one of my favorite writers and spiritual thinkers, Richard Raw, wrote, transformation is not merely a change of morals, group affiliation, or belief system, but a change at the very heart of the way you receive, hear, and pass on each moment. True transformation is the process of letting go. True transformation causes our motivation to foundationally change. Shift happens. Transformation happens. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but it does happen. Using right action or ritual and positive intention makes a powerful pathway for transformation. We have the spiritual technology to co-create our world, to transform our world. That is why I am calm in my soul as the revolution courses around and within me. Ritual intention used for the optimistic inward voyage is the beginning of transformation into becoming who we really are, collectively and individually. As we open our minds and our hearts to the divine and consciously love and serve others, we are transformed into the embodiment of divine unity. We choose our lives as spiritual beings with courage and with grace. I choose to believe, to know that I am loved, that I am worth a continual spiritual makeover. I am love. You are love. You are loved infinitely beyond the scope of anything we can even imagine. That's how vast infinite spirit loves us. True human selfhood is divine. Divinity lives within you. Right thinking lives within you, which has a healing effect. I just have to get out of my own way. for it to happen. So as I conclude this talk today, I'll leave you with one question, and I'll say it twice. What conscious, resonant ritual and truthful intention will you engage today? What conscious, resonant ritual and truthful intention will you engage today? And so it is.